Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the A40F podcast. My name is Dr. Justin Mills, and I am the co-founder of After 40 Fitness. My brother and also co-founder, Marcus Phillips, will be joining us on later episodes, but do want to give him a shout out for this particular one. First, I am a doctor, but I'm not a medical doctor. I actually have a PhD in instructional design and technology, but I do teach. That's kind of the essence of this podcast, to be able to teach individuals about how to get to a better version of themselves. I've done it with my journey, and I feel like by having these conversations, I can help you get to that particular place that you want to get to in your journey. Secondly, what is A40F or After 40 Fitness? The best way to explain that is to tell you a story. It's about 4 years ago, and I'm going through a bit of a crisis. I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm looking at this person that I just do not like. I'm 5'8". Yes, I'm a bit short. I'll admit it. But I'm 5'8", 230 pounds. My physique looks less than stellar. And as I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, how did I get to this point? And I also feel like I don't want to go through another year like this. I'm 39 years old. I'm out of shape. Things are not going well with my physique, and I want to change. I don't want to go into my 40s looking the way I look. I was self-conscious about my appearance when I was active with my children. I was out of breath all the time. I was starting to have increased issues with high blood pressure, on the verge of sleep apnea. It was a really, really tough time. And I looked myself in the mirror and I realized I needed to make a change. And if I didn't, I don't know what the future would hold. So with that particular thought in mind, I realized looking in that mirror 4 years ago, I needed to make a change, and I was going to change. Now, that sounds like, and that's usually what most individuals go through. I need to change. The hard part about this is, how do you change? How do you go through a process where you understand what it takes in order to change your body? And then as you go through that process, how do you get to a point where you know what to do, when to do it, and for how long to do it? I realized on my particular journey, I needed to research and understand what it took to make lasting change. So I took the time. I researched different items that would help me understand my journey. And I feel like those particular points could help you on your journey as well. So what I want to help you to understand is that A, you are not alone, and B, you can do it. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is not going to be easy. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. But is it easy? Nah, it's not easy. Enough is enough. The next step was to say, okay, what changes do I need to make? Motivation is good, and you clearly hear that I just had motivation. That motivation is good, but you can't sustain motivation. In order to make lasting changes, you have to go from motivation to discipline and consistency. That is how you ultimately make the changes in your body, make the changes in your mind, make the changes in your life that you need to make in order to have lasting change. Now, I needed to learn what worked for my body. I needed a plan. And I had to break that plan up into two separate forms. The first form is understanding, what's this thing about food? Food is delicious. We prepare different meals and we enjoy it and it's wonderful. But eating certain amounts of food and eating certain portions of food don't allow us to get to our maximum self. As a matter of fact, it actually does the opposite. It changes the way we look, and it doesn't do it for the better. The second thing I had to look at was, how am I performing and functioning working out? Most of us go to the gym and we feel like, you know what? Let me grab some dumbbells. Let me do a few curls. This machine looks good. Let me go on here and do this. I'll do some leg motion. Might grab a bar, do some pull-ups. Your workouts are all over the place. And that's not going to work if you're trying to create those lasting changes as well. You're going to have a structured plan. Now, the good news is you can have different type of plans depending upon what your situation is. If you have limitations, if you have physical limitations, if you have injuries that you need to work around, guess what? You can still create a plan that will help you get to your goals. There's no reason why you still can't do the things that you need to do in order to reach your goals. Tell yourself it's time, and tell yourself, I'm going to do what I can do. I happen to train clients, and these clients have a variety of different things that they need to consider as they do workouts. Some clients have injuries. Some clients just haven't been in the gym for several years. Some clients have an issue of time. All of those things can be managed and can be worked around, and you can still get results if you put in the consistency and the discipline to get those results. So I had to look at food. I had to look at my workouts. I had to come up with a structured plan. And then I also had to change my mindset. Now, mindset is a tricky thing. Mindset tells you 1 minute, I'm ready. I want to make this change. I got to do this. I got to work on this. I'm ready. And you might have that feeling for 2-3 days. But come that third, fourth day, you're probably feeling like, you know what? I think I'll skip the gym today. Or you know what? That cheeseburger really does look good. Oh, I'm going out with friends. I might just enjoy a drink or two. And then next thing you know, you've fallen off the wagon at this point. Those are the type of things that you're going to have to be mindful for if you are on this particular journey. You have to be careful when you have those interruptions in your discipline and those interruptions in your consistency. They are going to show up. You're going to have an interruption with food. You're going to have an interruption with workouts. But I also want to tell you that's okay too. This is a journey. This isn't a 2-month sprint. This is going to be changes that you're going to make for the long haul. So if you happen to have that cheeseburger or happen to drink something, just understand it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Jump back on, and it's something that you need to consider as you are changing your life and changing your habits. This process is not supposed to be a hindrance. You are making these changes, but don't forget to enjoy your life. Don't forget to do the things that you want to do with your loved ones. Just understand that there's a time and a place for it. Now, as for myself, in order to stick with this particular plan and keep that motivation and keep that consistency, what I decided to do was, I decided to enter a bodybuilding contest. Picture this. Again, I said I'm 5'8", 230 pounds. And I decide I want to get on stage and I want to pose in trunks in front of an audience of people. The fear that comes behind that is almost as wild as the fact that I even thought to do something like that. But I did. And you know what? It was one of the greatest decisions I could have made. You know why I decided to get on a bodybuilding stage? Well, if I know I have to be on stage at a certain period of time, I know I need to be in the gym. And I know every workout that I skipped, that meant that was one less workout that I could use to get better. And there's nothing like getting on stage in front of an audience of people and you know you haven't done your best, and the feeling that that causes, the disappointment, the heartache, the pain. And I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to get on stage and I wanted to be the best version of myself that I could be on that particular day. So that's what motivated me to get in the gym. But that motivation turned into consistency and discipline. That consistency and discipline of knowing I needed to be on stage meant I had to eat certain things a certain way, and I had to do it consistently. That also meant that I had to say no at times to family and friends when I needed to keep the consistency part. There are times to schedule a meal and to have a pretty big meal, but there are also times when you just have to say, I can't do that right now. So just understand that you are important enough to say, not right now. We'll celebrate later though, but not right now. Also on the journey, I realized that my brother from college, a friend of mine, Mr. Phillips that I mentioned earlier, he was also going on a similar journey. And he wanted to lose weight, he wanted to get in shape, and he decided, ironically, to sign up for a bodybuilding show. So the cool thing about that was I had an accountability partner. So I kind of had accountability on two fronts. The actual show and making sure that I was at the particular peak that I needed to be at for the show. I was able to have someone to call me and say, hey, have you worked out today? Did you eat what you needed to eat today? Did you stay away from temptations that would cause you to get sidetracked from this particular journey? Accountability is a great thing. So if you can find an accountability partner, that's even better. And that might be the first thing you look for. Now, I don't necessarily advise you join and find a bodybuilding competition, although I would recommend if you really just want the challenge, by all means. But one of the things that you can really be successful with is having that accountability partner. Somebody to help you to stay focused, to stay on track, to talk to you when you feel like giving up, because that's another thing on this journey. You don't necessarily have the energy and the willpower all the time to stay the course. So having somebody there to kind of help you and hold your hand and encourage you, having that particular person is a great thing. And we also like doing it. So if you'd like to join us, we'll definitely encourage you along the way as well. But for this first episode, I really just want to make it about our introduction and our particular journey. So hopefully this will help you as you decide to join your journey and you decide to make those changes that are necessary for you. Now, this particular journey, this particular odyssey that we have gone on, we wanted to document it. We wanted to have a way to remind us of the promises that we made to A, get on stage as the best version of ourselves, and B, understand the sacrifices that we needed to make. So we put our thoughts together, and my business partner and I came up with A40F, After 40 Fitness. We wanted to have something that represented individuals that were approaching 40 and that were past 40 because we realized and understood the difficulties that would cause. It's not easy getting in shape when you're approaching 40. When I was younger, I could eat anything I wanted to eat. I could take off running and play basketball, play football. Those things were just easy to do. You just roll out of bed and do it. Now, I roll out of bed and my legs don't work half the time. It takes 3-4 hours to get going because the joints have to get warmed up. It's a task getting in shape in your 40s. I mean, it really is true. You have just phantom pains everywhere, but it can be done. And you have to be conscious of approaching 40. Am I doing the things that are causing me to have difficulties when I get into my 40s? And while I'm in my 40s, am I doing those things that are causing me to derail my health after this point? So we created A40 Fit to serve as a reminder that you can make and you can create the best version of yourself, but you have to be diligent about it. And we use this particular logo as our symbol, as a promise to ourselves that we are going to be the best version of ourselves. We're going to find out what that looks like. So we also invite you to find out what the best version of yourself looks like. Now, I will say this particular story just doesn't end in the fairy tale where I get on stage and I miraculously win first place and, everybody's excited and like, I knew you could do it. That's not how this ends. As a matter of fact, from the time I decided to join a bodybuilding show, I did have some successes. I lost 60 pounds. I did look pretty good. But being on stage and being compared to the other individuals that were on stage, it was eye-opening. I pretty much came in last place. Yep. I felt a sense of determination. I wanted to see not only what the best version of myself looked like, but I wanted to win. So because of that, I start entering into more and more bodybuilding shows. And guess what? I start looking better and better and better. But that also meant I had to be more and more disciplined. It's not going to be easy. And it's still not easy because I'm still trying to compete. But it's worth it. It's fun. It's fun to get on stage and show the results of all that hard work. It's not fun getting up going to work out, whether it's raining, whether it's cold outside, whether you have body aches from working out from the previous workout. Not injured, though. Make sure you're not working out and you're injured. But just being tired from working throughout the day, using your mind or doing physical work, still pushing yourself, that's going to be the hard part. The fun part is when you see the results, when you fit in those clothes the way you want to, when you attend that particular event and you look the way you look, and you look totally different than when the last time people saw you. That's the fun part. That's the rewarding part. That's the part you should keep in your mind each and every time you step in the gym. Also, even though I didn't get my fairy tale ending, what I did get was a business. So we started A40 Fit. We became a limited partnership, and we were able to start to help other individuals become the best version of themselves. And that's why we decided to create this podcast, because training individuals, we understand that there are some general questions that are asked. And if we can get a chance to answer those questions in a public forum and be able to talk to individuals and be able to show you what it looks like to make those changes, the things you need to consider, the fun things that you get to do because of it, if we could show you all that and talk about all that, then I felt like it would be a much more beneficial um, result for A40 Fit. So that's what this podcast will be about. We're going to talk about all the issues and all of the factors that go into getting in shape. And each and every episode is themed around one central question. What does the best version of you look like? And how do you get there? This being A40 Fit's first podcast, I want to extend a welcome to you. I hope you join and subscribe. I hope you follow us. These will get better. We will get better. And we hope to serve you at some point in your journey. So with that, take care, and we'll see you next week.